Assalamu alaikum, folks. I hope you are doing well. Today is Friday, February 7th. Jummah Mubarak to everyone. We got the job numbers today, which I said would move the markets, and indeed they have. We also got some saber rattling from newly uh, newly uh, President Donald Trump, or at least someone he assumed his role recently. I I can't talk today. Sorry, but yeah, more saber rattling about the tariffs. The indices are all in the red right now. The dollar index is up 0.31%. The VIX is up. That's the volatility index is up, and the yield on the 10-year Treasury is up 1.1%. So all of these things are not really good for markets. The index, the dollar index being up, meaning the dollar is becoming more expensive. The VIX, meaning volatility is increasing or nervousness in the market, as well as the 10-year Treasury is increasing as well. So confidence in the dollar longer term is waning. And so all of this impacts the indices in a negative way, impacts risk assets in a negative way. And perhaps the confluence of all these factors is impacting the price of gold. Right now at 2,859, close to its all time high. It's performed very well since the start of the year. Um, we're talking about for gold, an upwards move of close to 9% since the start of the year. So basically just 1 month. And that's really unheard of for this risk off asset. Bitcoin, Dogecoin, Solana, they all stink right now. They could stink a lot more, and perhaps there's a possibility here for further drop. But again, I'm not really concerned about the end of the bull market. I don't think we're near there. So I do think there's still another leg up here in the crypto market, but there is some volatility to be had. And the smart investor is the one that's going to take advantage of these circumstances. Now, in terms of the reports that we got, some of the details, consumer inflation fears spike in February as tariff worries hit sentiment. So tariffs are going to cause inflation. Inflation doesn't really allow the Fed to cut interest rates. That's bad for the market. University of Michigan Consumer Survey showed that respondents expect inflation a year from now to be 4.3%. Remember, the target is 2%, so more than twice the target. A 1 percentage point jump from January and the highest since November of 2023. Not good. Worries over inflation dovetailed with lower optimism overall as the headline index fell to 67.8, a 1 month drop of 4.6%, and an 11.8% move lower from the same month a year ago. So things aren't headed in the right direction in terms of consumer sentiment. We also got the jobs report. The jobs report said non-farm payrolls in January rose by a seasonally adjusted 143,000 for the month, down from 307,000 in December and below the 169,000 forecast. So two things are happening simultaneously. Both are not good. It appears that the economy is slowing down and inflation worries are picking up. So something like stagflation, the worst thing that the Fed wants. Now, in response to this, I think that the president will likely cool it a bit with his tariff talks, especially since there's nothing to gain from tariff talks. There's a bunch of debt that needs to be refinanced this year on the US government's books. And so they need to bring down the interest rate. They're not going to do that if there's high inflation. So, you know, this new administration really needs to get it together and stop tanking the market and making things worse. We're already in a very fragile situation. trying to balance inflation fears and fears of the economy slowing down. Now, if we look at the probability for an interest rate cut in March, that has basically tanked. It's now at only an 8.5% chance of a cut in March, 91% chance that we won't get a cut in March. If you look, if you go out to May, there's a 24% chance, or actually 24.9% chance of a 25 basis point cut, a 1.7 chance of a 50 basis point cut. So we may be, it's still less than likely to get a cut all the way to May of this year. So something's got to give here. I personally don't think that the economy is going to do well if the rates of interest remain where they are right now. Now, if you look historically speaking, the rates of interest are not that high. If you look in the last 20 years, they are very high. And so they need to come down. The economy is not really used to dealing with interest rates this high. And they can't come down if we keep talking about tariffs that aren't going to do anything for anyone. Tariffs aren't the solution to the problems. I think something like Doge is a good start where we're cutting wasteful spending. That's a good start. That makes sense to me. But making things more expensive and bringing to the United States jobs that we don't want to be here in the first place, and it's a good thing that they're not on U.S. soil because of the environmental costs and the fact that these jobs are not necessarily high-paying jobs. We don't need Dave Chappelle has the jokes like, stop trying to bring Chinese jobs to the United States. Doesn't make any sense. So we don't need to. Yes, certain products, it makes sense, but a lot of the stuff that they're putting tariffs on makes no sense. But the president, his understanding of economics is, deficit or trade imbalance, bad. That's not necessary. That's not always the case. So, with regards to other miscellaneous data, Amazon reported earnings. They tanked after they reported earnings. What was noteworthy, though, is that they are going to invest $100 billion into AI infrastructure. That beats Microsoft. It beats Alphabet. It beats Meta, what they're expecting to invest in the 2025 calendar year. And it doesn't seem like any of these numbers have come down. In fact, they've risen since the DeepSeek revelation, which is good for Bitcoin miners that doubled as AI plays and AI infrastructure plays. As it relates to Solana, basically the chain where everything happens in crypto, Solana, VanEck came out with a price target for Solana of 520 for 2025. And they did that based on their estimate for liquidity levels and estimate for the smart contract platform market, which Solana is a blockchain for. And they came out with a price target of 520. I think that's more reasonable. Than some of the other price targets I've seen, talking about $1,000 token for Solana in the next 12 months, or sometimes even higher than that. That being said, I do think 520 is very bullish. It's not insane, but it's very bullish. I would say, if we get to 300s, I would sell, but that's not financial advice. Do with that what you will. If we get to something like 300, I would definitely sell. All right, so let's go to questions very quickly. By the way, if you do enjoy this, do leave. Can't speak today. If you enjoy this live, leave a like, please. I'd really appreciate that. become a PIF member to follow our portfolios. Alhamdulillah, our picks have been doing very well, with exception to Tesla, which I think is presenting a pretty strong buying opportunity. Not financial advice, but if you were looking for a buying opportunity, I think now is a good candidate. They're hiring for their Optimus robots, right? So I think they're going to roll out a few off their assembly line this year. That's going to be really bullish for the stock, because once the economics for the Optimus robots becomes tangible, analysts are going to start forecasting, hey, how much is this, how big can this business become? What's the size of the market? What are the potential profit margins on each robot? A lot of these Wall Street analysts have been, postponing even including the robot business into their models because, well, they haven't sold the first robot yet. That all changes once the first robot is sold. We could get a really big upwards move for Tesla stock. Let's go to questions. Amir says, Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. It's much better time for the live. What are your views on the latest Merck and Atcore earnings? Well, I think that the stock prices kind of reflected the quality of their forecasts. These two companies have really been underperformers. I think management needs, at least half of the management in each company needs to be fired. They had really good opportunities to do something, and they haven't. And so, yeah, I think there's better companies out there. Safi, wa alaikum salam. Hamad, what do you think the impact of BYD press will be Monday? I'm not sure what that's referring to. I sold all my growth portfolio miners for Tesla. I just couldn't miss Tesla at these prices. And what you have been saying on Tesla, of course, not financial advice. DCA up, nice. Nice, Malik. I think that, one of the reasons why people don't enjoy investing is because they're stuck in the, what if I did this, what if I did this, and they don't actually look at how their portfolios are performing. So if you look at how your portfolio performs and you hold it for long enough, I think you'll be very happy. The only way you won't be happy is if you start comparing, oh, well, if I had put in this other place, then maybe I would have been up more. And that's robs people of their happiness. So my advice would be to look at how your portfolio performs. And based on what you're telling me, if I had to guess, it's going to perform quite nicely, inshallah. Dr. Boss, assalamu alaikum. When do you expect a breakout in crypto? Well, we need to get a better rate cut probability for a breakout in crypto. Crypto is largely a measure of liquidity in the world. Now, there are other places in the world where rate cuts are happening. That's great. And so that, because crypto is a global asset, that's going to help us out. But we need the biggest economy is here in the United States, the most liquidity here in the United States. What's going to matter the most is what happens in the United States. And so it's important that we get a firm picture on when the next rate cut is going to happen, and then crypto can start to run. Now, we could get some catalysts before then. For example, some more policy catalysts from this new administration, but those are not sort of long lasting. The liquidity picture is what can sustain a prolonged bull run. XRP, I've mentioned it before. The inflation picture for XRP is uncomfortable for me as an investor. He is going crazy with tariffs. I would agree with that. How will cryptocurrency do? It's tough. You're seeing cryptocurrency react rather strongly to news about tariffs, even though cryptocurrency is a global asset. The reason why it's reacting very strongly is because tariffs are expected to affect inflation. Inflation is expected to impact monetary policy. Monetary policy determines how much liquidity there is in the system. And that really is what drives crypto up or down. Sophie, I'm new to PIF and want to start investing. That's awesome. If you haven't become a PIF member um, that can follow our trades, then become one. I think you'll get a lot of good ideas. Amazing amount of info in this live. Jazakallah khair. It's my pleasure. Thank you. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Tesla sales on Europe tanked. In Europe tanked. I addressed that yesterday. I think that this is not necessarily cause for concern. Chinese vehicles are lower price and they're smaller in size, and that's more appealing to European consumers. That being said, when the full self-driving comes out, I think the competitiveness of Tesla cars is going to shoot up. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Just go to Halal Portfolios, brother. You can see our portfolios. All right. Someone says boycott Tesla. Okay. What do you think of Nvidia? Do you think waiting till earnings report? I think Nvidia is fully valued. I see more downside than upside at this particular point. So, brother, I'm not saying that I think it's probably going to go down. I just think that the potential upside. So if we look at the tail ends of the probability distribution curve, the potential upside from here is limited. But something happens like a DeepSeek or something that changes our understanding of demand for these chips. The downside seems steeper. Fetch a QE and then turn the printer on. Crypto will come back. Yeah, I do think that that's probably what crypto is waiting for. Oh, BYD will have a press conference about autonomous driving. Well, we'll see. We'll see what they say. It's possible that there are more than one. So every car in the future is going to be electric and it's going to be autonomous, or let's say 95%. In 20 years, that's what's going to be the case. Every car is going to be electric and it's going to be self-driving. So I don't think it's I don't think it's a stretch to say there's room for more than one company to be manufacturing electric and autonomous cars. But we'll see what BYD says. I'm not really that concerned. If there, like I said, there's room for more than one company at the rendezvous of victory. Maybe I'll take another look at SMCI. Well, if EU produces nothing but regulation, so I think probably FSD will be heavily regulated in Europe and will basically retard the advancement of that particular continent. But Europe is, I mean, they don't make anything anymore. They're not really as strong of, they don't have as strong of economies as they once did. They're not the heavyweights that they used to be. So, but I do think the UK is an exception. Germany is an exception. And I think these countries will move a lot faster in terms of FSD than Greece, for example. AMD stock. I think they have relations with Israel. Every time I look, it's kind of a different answer, but I think they have some pretty substantial relations with Israel. Take a look and let me know if I'm wrong. Mubin says, Salam, brother. Following you for a few years now. First time on the live. Well, glad you could make it. General question: why do people choose to invest in crypto over equities? Potential upside. It's think of it like a penny stock or something like that in terms of their volatility. So more risk, yes, but more potential return. That's what attracts people to crypto. Don't try to tell me it's the movement and the community and all of that stuff, because that's not why people are investing. They're investing because of the potential upside. And with that, if you enjoyed this slide, do leave a like, subscribe, become a PIF member if you aren't already. Enjoy your weekend and let Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala take care of everything that you cannot control. Jummah Mubarak, as I said. Assalamu alaikum and peace be upon you all.